Alright, continuing on with our proof solutions. We're moving on to 7 here. We have a couple of givens. LM is congruent to MNO. That's these guys. And then angle M is congruent to angle O. That's why it has those 2 marks there. And these are just givens. And so we're going to fill in our first 2 lines here. Given. And then angle M is congruent to angle O. And so notice how we only have one thing left filled in, and that's angle side. Well, if we want to get like angle side and angle side, we need these guys to be congruent or these 2 angles to be congruent. Well, we don't know for certain those are congruent right now, but we can conclude that these angles in the middle are, because these make vertical angles and they're opposite angles of vertical angles. And so here's our reason: vertical angles. And we know it's these angles here. So we're looking at MPL is going to be congruent to angle OPN. And when you have that, we're going to know that triangle MPL is congruent to NPO. Moving on to 8. This one's a little bit different, but we'll be able to get this worked out. AB is congruent to CD, and that's a given here. AB is congruent. Oh, that's not the line. Congruent to DC, and that's a given. That's right there to start. We know AC is congruent to AC, this middle line, and that's by the reflexive property. Reflexive, man, property. I think I could spell these words. And this one's, it jumps right to the conclusion of proving these are congruent. And this is a reason we haven't really talked about. It's HL, hypotenuse leg. So if you have right triangles, that's what a little box means. If you just have the hypotenuse length and a leg, that's enough information to know they're congruent. But we haven't really talked about that, but that's your answer for 8. Moving on to 9, we have 3 givens. And I'm just going to write them down here. 3 givens, 3 slots to put them down. They're all given information. We'll just list them out. PQ is congruent to SU. QR is congruent to ST. And PR is congruent to TU. And when you have that, you have side, side, side. And so our congruence is side, side, side. Moving on to 10, N is the midpoint of MO. So this is the halfway mark of this entire length. And so these 2 sides are going to end up being congruent. That's just definition of midpoint. Oh, and that's probably going to be right here. Midpoint. That's what that means. And we're going to fill that in right now. MN is going to be congruent to ON because of the midpoint. I guess we just need to fill in this guy here. LN is congruent to PN, and that's part of our givens. And so I'm going to put that down, given. And then we have side, 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 because those match up, and then those match up. And so we're just going to put this statement right here. LMN is congruent to PON, and that's our finisher there. Moving on to 11. If C is the midpoint of BE, there's this whole segment, and this is like the halfway mark. These 2 guys are going to be congruent. Oh, and that's going to be number 4 because of the midpoint. Just that first statement there is going to let us know it's the halfway point of the whole line. So BC is going to be congruent to EC. The sides are going to be congruent. We know angle B is congruent to angle E by because that's part of our givens. And we know that AB is congruent to DE, and that's also part of our given. And the last given that's not listed is this statement here. C is the midpoint. Yeah, I'm just going to erase that because I'm out of room. But you put this statement right there because that's part of our givens there. And that's a whole one filled out. Moving on to 12, QT bisects SP. So this line cuts this other line in half. That's part of our givens there. And that's actually right there, definition of bisect. We also have the statement that SP bisects QT. And I'm going to put that here right now because it's not listed. So these two guys actually bisect each other. And so this is also the definition of bisect. And so that's how we know those sides are congruent. These angles are congruent because they're vertical angles. They're opposite angles of two lines that cross. And so we got angle QRP to be congruent with angle SRT. And that leads us to our statement there of side by side angle side, because we have side angle side. And we'll stop there.